Disclaimer: this is not a hate video. If you don't like Momoland, that's fine by me. I just request you to keep your dislike for Momoland, its members, and fandom aside while watching this video. Remember that they are people too at the end of the day, so please be respectful. And if you love Momoland more than anything, I am not Mary, so I have just kept to the basics in this video, and I do not have all the details, so please don't kill me. Some of the things said in this video are just theories, not facts. Alright, let's get started. Momoland is a K-pop girl group consisting of 6 members. The first part of their name, Momo, comes from a novel called Momo, in which the main character gave people hopes and dreams, while the second part of their name, Land, meant a place where people could go, play, rest, just like an amusement park, in case you were wondering. Their official fan name is called Merry Go Round, Merry for short, which I find quite ironic considering how their journey has been anything but merry. In fact, it has been quite the polar opposite. Momoland is a group everyone has heard of, and they carry a reputation for being the most hated girl group of this era. They have been in lots of quote-unquote scandals. Terms like one-hit wonder, untalented, disrespectful, rude, problematic have stuck to them over the years, making them supervillains of K-pop. The amount of hate that Momoland has managed to get in only a short period of 3 years is equal parts shocking and disappointing. The hate train and abuse against them is one of the worst examples in K-pop history, where it seems like these girls simply existing is enough to put people in a rage. It does not make any sense. As someone who is not a Mary, I wanted to find out why Momoland is the group people love to hate. To understand how they got to this point, let's go back in time. July 22nd, 2016. It all started in 2016 by a survival program called Finding Momoland, where 10 girls battled it out to become a part of what would be Double Kick Entertainment's new girl group, Momoland. A quick side note, Double Kick Company was founded by a production and songwriting duo, Park and Kim. You may recognize them from Sistar Shake It, A-Pink Mr. Chu, Girls' Day Something Darling, and Davichi Turtle. Basically, all the hits. They were killing the game from 2012 to 2015 and had enough funds to support artists under their company. Momoland would be the first group Double Kick would produce themselves. And probably the last. Now, back to the story. The girls battled it out to secure their spot in the group, finishing off with 7 trainees who won and became permanent members of Momoland. It was a pretty standard reality show concept. You participate, you win, and you get the debut. So, where was the debut? October 31st, 2016. Double Kick said, "Sis, you want the debut? You better pay for it." So that's what happened. Momoland raised over $12,000 over their initial goal of $6,000 on Makestar, a funding page, with fans donating towards the official debut. Momoland had to crowdfund their debut, which is a pretty good indicator of how things were going for them at the time. Bad. November 10, 2016. Finally, Momoland got their debut with a mini album, Welcome to Momoland. This album contained 6 tracks, and the title track for the mini was Jang Kung Kang, which up to this point I have no idea what it means. In the music video, the girls welcome you to Momoland, a wonderful and fantastical world complete with Alice in Wonderland-esque optical illusions. The song itself is a pre-classic bubblegum pop, which is where the producers went wrong. A cute, quirky girl group concept, especially in the time when there were tons of rookie girl groups who fit under that umbrella. We had Oh My Girl, G-Friend, Lovelies, A-Pink, Very Good, and of course Queen Bees of K-pop, Twice. Without sugarcoating it, large girl group with a cute concept became the new normal. Producers had misjudged the market heavily, and Momoland's debut was underwhelming to the point that no one cared for it. To make the matters even worse, the same year, this happened.
Blackpink in your area. Blackpink in your area.
The new YG Entertainment girl group dropped a sledgehammer on K-pop with Boombaya. Blackpink embodied a strong bad girl image, and it was said to be the best debut of 2016. Their good to be bad concept was an instant hit, and well, Momoland took a serious hit. However, fans were still hopeful. This is just the debut, right? Momoland will bounce back in the next comeback. April 26, 2017. Double Kick Company decided to double down on their original image with a cute spring love song, Wonderful Love. And this comeback saw the addition of two new members, Daisy, who was eliminated in the show Finding Momoland, and the former Produce 101 contestant, Kim Teha, making Momoland a 9-member group. The more, the merrier, right? While Double Kick Entertainment was fairly known in the production world, that was not enough to carry Momoland to the public eye. Hardly anyone watched Finding Momoland, and with very little debut clout, their songs failed to chart. Fans feared for Momoland as the group was relatively new and had a small following. May 30, 2017. In hopes of building a fan base and getting more recognition, Momoland kept performing on the streets. And then, they were picked up by Kim Young Chul and Hong Jin Young to perform as their background dancers for the single Ring Ring. During the performance, a certain blonde girl caught everyone's attention with her free of all fucks dance moves. Chewie became a living meme. This was the turning point. Momoland reached the pinnacle of success for any K-pop group. Wonderful viral fame.
사과 툭툭툭 두픽 하나 사과 툭툭툭 두픽 하나 사과 툭툭툭 헤이 두픽 하나 스파클링.
September 2017. Chewie and her energetic dance moves were commissioned to star in a now iconic commercial film for the drinks brand Tropicana, which began airing and subsequently going viral in mid-September. Chewie's performance was so hugely viral that she made national headlines in Korea. Yes, Queen! Okay, that was kind of cringe. Anyways, Chewie and Momoland became the top search terms in Korea. Although the girls were becoming pretty known now, it was later that Momoland truly hit the jackpot. January 3rd, 2018. Premiering right at the start of the year with a sexy new style, Boom Boom gave a major boom to Momoland's popularity. With horns, guitars, and a lit dance beat, Momoland took full advantage of Chewie and not only placed her in the center of the choreography but also integrated her moves into the dance. In a meme-driven entertainment culture, this song ticks all the right boxes. It is both catchy and viral-worthy. By the end of January, Boom Boom had peaked at number 4 on the Billboard World Charts and continued to climb the Korean charts throughout February. Both Boom Boom and Great hit highs of number 3 on the Gaon chart by mid-February. Momoland finally achieved the holy grail in Korean music with over 100 million streams and became the first girl group song to earn a platinum certification from Gaon Music Chart. As I am making this video, Boom Boom has over 400 million views on YouTube. Long story short, Momoland became super popular and they were absolutely slaying. But not everything was coming up roses for the rookie group. January 12th, 2018. Just 10 days after the song was released, Cerebro accused Momoland of plagiarizing their song Me 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 with Boom Boom. The accusation involving Me 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 is by far the most popular, and after listening to it, I get why some people would think they are a copy, but they aren't even close to it. Let me explain. First, let's take a look at music sheet of both songs. Note that the songs are in two different keys. Also, the most basic rhythm, 2 quarter notes, cannot be called plagiarism. However, keep in mind that most listeners are tone deaf to some degree and probably wouldn't notice that. So coming to the conclusion, it sounds similar, therefore plagiarism is pretty common. Also, I think it got blown way out of proportion because Cerebro themselves accused Momoland of plagiarism. The fact that these people are supposedly musicians and jumped on the plagiarism bandwagon without a thought is pretty fucking dumb. But that's not all too bad in comparison to what's about to come. Momoland and Double Kick Company found themselves in the middle of a Sajagi investigation. Yikes. If you don't know what Sajagi is the act of manipulating music chart rankings. According to Hantyu's chart sales figures, Great cultivated a total of around 4,000 sales in January. However, on February 12th, 8,261 copies were sold. What? Great sold double its entire January sales in one day. But how? Red flags were promptly raised in the land of Momo and K-pop due to these inconsistent sales figures. The shit hit the fan and the case went to Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism for investigation. Finally, after months of investigation, on May 8, 2018, the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism released its official findings and cleared Momoland of any wrongdoing. Just a quick side note, I think Boom Boom would be popular regardless of Sajagi, so people who claim Momoland had to quote-unquote buy their popularity, I calmly disagree. Double Kick Company changed its name to MLD Entertainment. MLD, as the CEO said, is meant to represent the mission statement, legendary management makes a dream come true. A more honest motto would be Chewy saved us all, but alright, I will be referring to them as MLD throughout this video. June 26, 2018. Momoland came back to the summer music scene with their fourth mini album, Fun to the World. In hopes of replicating the same chart performance as Boom Boom, BAM was created with a copy and paste formula. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. BAM, however, was also the mark that told people if they should continue being interested in Momoland, as it was just their first comeback song after their viral hit. A lot of people lost interest due to doubts over their musical versatility. What MLD should have done is parlay Boom Boom's success into establishing a solid fan base. Instead, they tried to replicate Boom Boom's success with basically the same song. On top of that, Momoland came under fire for their music video. In Momoland's ancient Egyptian concept photos, the members were dressed in a stereotypical costume and posed on a stage set that includes a historically inaccurate throne and a streamer trunk. Now, coming to their Mexican concept. The Mexican costume is pure stereotyping. Sombrero, mustache, and loud prints. Also, Hyben's Mexican costume is actually the dashiki, a Western African tunic. It is not Momoland's fault, to be honest, but frustratingly since the girls of Momoland are the face, they are held accountable for something that wasn't even their fault by audiences. Plagiarism, Sajagi, cultural appropriation. Momoland became pretty unlikable at this point, and it only gets worse from here. July 7, 2018. Momoland went to show Music Core to perform BAM. However, the thing that caught everyone's attention more than the performance is the now infamous jealousy scandal. Fancams caught Nancy seemingly glaring and giving side-eye to Lisa when she was giving acceptance speech. This whole situation made me want to slam my head against a wall. Blinks and so many other fandoms made Nancy's probable exhaustion such a big deal, and it makes me sad how people will literally jump to conclusions with zero evidence. Nancy has a resting bitch face, and she has herself expressed how her facial expressions get misunderstood at times.
표정이 바뀌어도 이게 감정이 달라 보이더라고요. 전 아무 생각도 안 하고 있는데 화났어요? 이렇게 묻는 분들도 많고.
The same night, Chewy didn't bow. You can see it towards the end of the show. When everyone is bowing, she kind of freezes awkwardly mid-air waving, does not bow and then runs off the stage. Now, to be honest, I think she could have bowed. However, you cannot call Momoland disrespectful just because one member fucked up. November 6, 2018. Momoland won an award for Best Dance Track Female on MBC Genie Plus Music Awards. And when they went down the stairs to receive their awards, it seemed like they did not bow to their seniors BTS. And oh my god, the infamous portion of army blew up this whole thing to make it seem like an unforgivable sin. Well, first things first, they were walking down a flight of stairs with 3-inch heels and were probably focused on not falling and breaking their spine. Honestly, the absurdity of this whole thing really baffles me. Jokes aside, when the girls were walking back to their assigned seats, each and every one of them bowed to BTS. But people chose to ignore what didn't fit their narrative. That same night, when BTS were performing, at one point Jimin's voice cracked, and a fan cam came out of Momoland laughing when Jimin's voice cracked. The question of the hour, however, is, were they really laughing at Jimin? No. If you look at the entire fan cam, they were laughing way before Jimin's voice cracked. That clip was taken out of context, and this just goes to show how overboard people go sometimes. Also, can't idols even sit in peace at an award ceremony without being filmed and scrutinized? So yeah, that's how 2018 ended. Momoland became the quintessential supervillains of K-pop, and we all know that there is a massive dislike to that image. Boom. It was a perfect storm to brew massive hate, and almost everyone was rooting for Momoland to fail. Now, let me introduce you to the genuine villains of K-pop, MLD. Soon it will become quite evident that MLD is completely incapable of just not making the worst decisions at every opportunity. 2019 in general had a bad vibe, and we were about to witness firsthand how MLD's mismanagement nearly destroyed Momoland. March 14, 2019. MLD released a statement saying that Daisy and Taeha will not be participating in Momoland's 5th mini album, Show Me. This announcement came as a surprise to a lot of fans. Why, you ask? Because 2 active members were absent in the music video. There have been many groups where a member was announced to go on hiatus but was still included in the song itself, just did not promote. For example, Twice's Meena was on hiatus for health reasons, but she still shot multiple music videos with them. Pentagon's Yanan has been on multiple hiatuses but was still on the recording of Pentagon songs. NCT 127's Hee-chan was injured while preparing for a comeback but was still in the songs and the music video itself. MLD could have included Daisy and Taeha in the music video or songs. They just didn't. A lot of fans theorized that MLD was punishing Daisy for her dating scandal with iKON's Yeonhyung. It was around Valentine's Day when the rumors started doing rounds. While MLD confirmed that the two had indeed been dating for 3 months, YG Entertainment denied. Well, this explains Daisy's situation, but Taeha's hiatus did not make any sense. MLD Entertainment, who put so much efforts into adding Taeha to the group in the first place, were making her poof just before the comeback. March 20, 2019. Momoland returned with their 5th mini album Show Me. I Am So Hot was released as title track, and it was this song that alienated people. It was obvious that the simple choreography during the chorus was an attempt by MLD to make the song viral again, but it did not work out. The tune also did not click. The dislikes on the video were going up by the minute, and if you look at the like to dislike ratio on the music video, it's actually pretty bad. You could tell that a lot of people either hated the song or jumped on the hate bandwagon that originated from scandals. Now let me rant about how MLD is a streaming pile of shit. MLD made fans wait for almost a year after BAM was released. A very questionable decision on their part, when the momentum from BAM could have made I Am So Hot a moderate success. With the delayed comeback, the public interest had evaporated and there were very big shoes to fill. Those shoes were not filled by Daisy or Taeha, of course. And I Am So Hot was a serious blow to Momoland's fanbase. The song performed average on charts and the physical sales significantly declined. While we are at it, let's take a look at the album cover. Well, what in the world is this? This looks like something my 5-year-old cousin would draw to invite her friends over for a tea party. It's understandable that MLD is a small company, so they have to spend frugally, but this just comes across as lazy. This looks like they give zero fucks about the people who are actually paying for the album. Months passed after Momoland's comeback and MLD showed no signs of Daisy or Teha rejoining Momoland anytime soon. It seemed like that they had vanished in thin air. Meanwhile, another member Yeonwoo announced that she was taking a break from the group, citing panic disorder. September 25, 2019. 7 months had passed since the fifth mini album dropped, and there were still no updates on Daisy and Teha. Until Daisy's mom reached out to fans with an Instagram post. So, MLD had forced Daisy and Teha to go on hiatus? But why? Some would argue that they were probably cutting costs, but it does not make any sense. Boom Boom made a bang for MLD, along with their partnership with the Philippines-based TV network ABS-CBN. Then there was all that money from Chewy's commercial films, Nancy and Yeonwoo's acting deals. It can't be that all their money turned to dust. Or MLD wanted to go back to their original 7 lineup pre-Teha and Daisy. Oh my god, this is so idiotic. Are they allergic to fame? They literally kicked out one of their most popular members domestically and one of the most popular members internationally. Momoland became famous as OT9, so it was not like these two were being a burden on the group. October 6, 2019. Daisy's mom was back at it again. Total mess. While I agree MLD is a shitty company and my heart literally breaks for Daisy, but I don't think Daisy's mom was doing her any favors by posting that stuff. Especially the stuff where she was implying that the other girls were complicit in MLD's shitty behavior. Needless to say, this would be the best time for MLD to step up and address the whole situation. But what did MLD do? They completely ignored the whole situation and gave the fans a big middle finger. November 29, 2019. MLD Entertainment finally announced that Teha would be leaving Momoland, but instead of saying Daisy would be departing, fans were shocked to find out that Yeonwoo would be leaving as well. MLD announced the departures in a statement. So, Teha opted to leave MLD and change her agency. Good for her. Yeonwoo was kicked out of the group and placed into acting by MLD. Daisy went from indefinitely on hiatus to indefinitely in negotiations. Just a quick side note, I found it very concerning how Yeonwoo was essentially treated like an eye candy for the sole purposes of sexualizing her. All the visuals are there to be pretty but not to be pushed like an objectified piece of meat. 2019 turned out to be catastrophic for Momoland. They almost lost a third of the group, had to rewrite various parts of the song to cover the departed members, had fan meetings cancelled due to lack of audience, and their comeback song flopped. January 7th, 2020. Daisy finally broke her silence and appeared on KBS One TV exposing MLD for shady business practices. Daisy said that she had expressed her desire to promote with Momoland in May, but she was not given any opportunities for 8 months. Clearly fed up, Daisy requested a termination of her contract, but MLD demanded a penalty of 1.1 billion Korean won, which is approximately $943,000. What a fucking joke. So, MLD wants to make money on contract terminations? Wow, new low for them. MLD clearly had zero intentions of adding Daisy back to the group, yet they refused to let her leave and probably wanted to keep her jobless. Why? With the hope that she had end up succumbing and out of frustration pay that joke of a termination fee. Daisy then went to speak about how Finding Momoland, the show that gave birth to Momoland, was rigged. Now let me show you guys how the voting system looks like. Members were selected through a combination of 60% producers judging, 20% online viewers votes, and 20% live audience voting. It is a really tricky situation because the only reason the police investigated IOI and produced 101 was because people paid 100 won per vote. If you pay money for something and then you find out it was rigged, it becomes huge. With finding Momoland, however, people did not actually spend their money on voting as it was based on online voting. So, there's that. Then Daisy revealed how each trainee had paid around 70 million won, around $60,000, to take part in finding Momoland. I am assuming that includes even the trainees who didn't get the debut. To be honest, I consider charging that much money to be its own form of rigging. It completely shuts out so many people who simply can't afford a risk like that. Not everyone comes from a privileged background where they can afford to pay $60,000 for their dreams. Imagine being asked to pay an insane amount of money to take part in a survival show without a guarantee of debut, and then being asked to pay a termination fee after being dungeoned. To add insult to the injury, Daisy was not allowed to work for almost a year. So whatever debt she had with the company was just incurring more interest. This is actually horrific. I mean, these girls were 16 to 20 with a minimum of $60,000 hanging over their heads. Even for those who did end up in the group, that could quite possibly be a huge loss, since they likely won't earn that money back. MLD then released a statement. Now, this is a really lengthy statement, so I will just break it down for you. MLD claimed that ever since they confirmed Daisy's dating news, her mom requested that she be let go from Momoland. MLD then asked Daisy if she wanted to continue participating, but Daisy did not have a firm answer, so they suggested that she go on hiatus. Ever since, Daisy's mom continued to demand MLD officially apologize and terminate Daisy's contract. After months of ongoing demands, MLD decided to let Daisy go without paying the contract violation fee. However, Daisy's mom demanded an additional payment from MLD as reimbursements. MLD claimed Daisy cut off all contact with the agency since August 2019 and has remained unreachable since. MLD found the demands of Daisy's mother unreasonable and decided to withdraw their initial offer and claimed she will have to pay the fee if she wishes to leave. MLD also demanded that KBS formally apologize for solely reporting Daisy's unilateral story and rejecting the company's side. So, what do you guys think? Is this a case of a very controlling mom, or MLD being a genuinely shitty company? Now, I am not supposed to give my opinion, but I am rooting for Daisy. She chose to reveal everything because she is stuck, and making the dispute public is the only move she has left, and her only way to get some sort of support. Think about it. Idols always have to act happy. You cannot talk about your personal problems to your fans because the company and the system does not let you. Maybe the fans are curious about your personal life, but the K-pop industry isn't. You get paid to perform, to entertain people, and not to cry in front of them. What a strange ride for Momoland. Momoland feels so much like a group that's on their last legs to me, which is crazy because we are not even that far removed from Boom Boom. I hope I am wrong. Momoland's trajectory is pretty much a bell curve at this point. They rocketed to overnight success and almost as quickly are entering into free fall. To see their whole careers crumble because of MLD and music producers is heartbreaking. Momoland have been abused by the industry since day zero, being forced to pay millions of Korean won just to take part in the show, not even to debut. Then MLD forms an overly controlling relationship with the girls, including no pay, extremely tight restrictions upon their lives, and zero defense from any scandals. In fact, at this point it's obvious that Daisy was dungeoned as a punishment for her dating scandal. And to top it all off, they are one of the most hated girl groups of this era on the consumer side because of some out of context fan cams. All of this shit they have been through, yet they are strong enough to keep going for their fans. I hope for the other girls' sakes that Momoland does not disband and that MLD Entertainment royally gets their shit together. I better not see a single hate comment against Momoland from now on. because I really have a newfound respect for these girls.